And we are live. Welcome back to another edition of the Toe Hold MMA podcast. I'm your host, Dave. First thing we're going to do is make sure you guys, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, hit the like notification. All this does is help grow the channel, and that's what I'm looking to do. So let's, and also hit that notification button. But let's get started on this card. We're talking about UFC Fight Island 8, Magny versus Chiesa. I'm not breaking down each fight for this card. I'm going to kind of do this kind of more of like where I'm thinking for angles for betting on this fight, and we're going to go from there. First fight I kind of looking at, potentially to bet is Minao Fioriat. I don't know if I'm probably butchered that name badly, versus Victoria Leonardo. Um, Fioriat is currently a minus 185 favorite. I think there's still some value on that. I think she could potentially be bigger, but with women's MMA, being that it's just her, UFC debut, there's definitely some question marks. But overall, I think she's going to piece up Victoria Leonardo on the feet pretty easily, avoid the takedowns, because that's the only way Leonardo's going to win this fight. And I think eventually Fioriat is going to get that knockout. And that's where I'm looking at. Currently, Fioriat wins by knockout is plus 240. I kind of like that. I wish it was a little bit heavier, but I think I'm probably going to sprinkle a little bit on that. And I'm also probably going to look at the under 2.5 rounds for this fight at plus 165. I think that's another great spot you can hit potentially for a bet. But, I think minus 185 is not a bad, bet to do in general for just her straight up. But those are the three in this fight that I, bets in this fight that I'd look to take. Next fight on the card is Umar Nurmagomedov versus Moziev. I don't have any bets or anything on this one, so I'm going to skip it. Along with the same with Mike Davis versus Mason Jones. If there was a bet I would potentially make, would be Mason Jones, because I think this fight's going to be closer than anticipated. So getting plus money on Jones is not a bad thing. But I still like Mike Davis to win. But still, there's no official bets. Next fight, you got Jerome Rivera versus Francisco Figueiredo. Again, another fight I'm just avoiding. That there's not enough footage on Figueiredo, and I'm not very impressed with anything Rivera's done. So I'm just going to, again, if anything, it would be a dog or pass. I'm just going to pass on this fight. Next fight, Dolce Longbula versus Marcus Perez. I like Dolce a good amount in this fight. I think, I'm looking at him for, a knockout. That's, I think, the most likely. We saw Perez get knocked out in his last fight, and I think that's something you can potentially target. And he is currently sitting at plus 115. Again, not the greatest odds. Wish it was a little bit higher, but I'm probably going to sprinkle a little bit on that. But I'm also looking at him straight money line, which is right around minus 135. I think that's a great bet. But if you're looking for more prop plays, I think him by a knockout is not a bad play. I just don't see how Marcus Perez wins. Dolce is going to be a lot bigger fighter. Perez is taking this on short notice, so I just don't see too many options for him. Next fight we got is Sumadarji versus Zura Adashev. If you're a subscriber to Daily Fantasy Insider, you know that Sumadarji are a must-have for this week. I think he is going to get that knockout. I'm not that all impressed with Adashev, especially seeing him, get knocked out by Tyson Nam. I think if you can get Madarji by KO, is at minus 145. I don't mind that. It's obviously you can't bet Madarji minus 430. That's too high. He's definitely a good parlay piece. You could definitely throw him in some, but as for a bet on this fight, probably the Madarji via KO at minus 195, as I think that's the most likely route. That's about it. Next, you got Ricky Simone versus Gastiano Pirello. I probably butchered that name again too. Ricky Simone should dominate this fight. Obviously has a suspect chin, so it does worry me a little bit, especially being a minus 460 favorite. If anything, I don't mind Ricky Simone plus 255 by a submission. He does have multiple paths to win this fight. You could go the straight up plus 140 to win inside the distance, which isn't a bad bet. But I think you risk it a little bit more, and I think you go by the plus 50 255 inside the distance, or plus 255 by submission, as I think he's more than likely going to get Piriello down, who has no takedown defense, and get that submission. If you want to take a little bit risk, you can get him by TKO, KO, plus 225. I know there's books down in like Jersey where you can take, a double chance. I think DraftKings and FanDuel both have it where you can, take basically KO and sub together and you get those, but that's basically inside the distance odds, but you can do stuff like that. But I do like, and I don't mind the under 2.5 rounds at plus 105 either. That's something you can look at for this fight, because I think Simone's going to get finish this fight inside the distance. Next fight up, you got Tyson Nam versus Matt Schnell. I like Nam to win this fight. I think it's pretty clear paths. I mean, for him at minus 125, I think that's a great play, money line bet for him. And obviously his most likely way to win is via knockout. And he is currently sitting at plus 150 for knockout. I mean, his win inside the distance is plus 140. So it's not much better to do that. I'd rather just get, a little bit more and get the plus 150, because I don't see Nam going to submit Snell. It's very unlikely. So might as well just get the little bit of extra money and get the knockout chance. But that's kind of all from this fight. That's another bet I'm looking to target, because I think that price is too close. I think it should be a lot wider for Nam. Next fight, we got Leron Murphy versus Douglas Silva Andrade. This one, I don't really have much on it. I could potentially see Murphy getting a finish, but at the same time, too, I see him very likely to go to decision, and I just don't want to touch this one from a betting perspective. I'd rather just pass and keep on going. Next fight, you got Roxy Modafferi versus Viviane Araújo. Again, another fight I'm not going to touch. I'm not touching minus 295 for Araújo. I'm not touching any of the overs, because more than likely Roxy's pretty tough. Most of her fights go to decision, and I just don't see Roxy getting a win unless it's something super late in the third round via submission, which I just still don't think is very likely. But again, passing on that fight. Next up, you got Ike Villanueva versus Vinicius Moreira. This is, again, it's a toss-up fight. Striker versus grappler. If Ike keeps it standing, you're going to get the knockout. He's going to likely get the knockout. And if Vinicius can get the takedown, he's likely to get the sub. This really should be a coin flip fight. Right now, you can get plus money on Moreira, which is probably not a bad, bet. You're not going to bet the under. So if you do like Moreira to win, he is currently sitting at plus 175 for inside the distance, which isn't bad at all. And his most likely path is by of submission, which is currently sitting at plus 210. So if you think he's going to win and you're going to get to plus 210, might as well do it. Or if you kind of want to go almost to create, the safer route, you could do him via sub plus 210, or via submission at plus 210. Then you can go for Ike via KO at plus 115. If you bet the same amount, you're basically guaranteed the winner. So if you bet $100 at plus 115, and Ike wins, you get $15. Obviously not the greatest, but still something. But obviously, if Moreira gets the submission, you're getting $110 on that. So it's kind of, you're basically covering your bet for the most likely odd, covering your butt for the most likely odds. But I still think there's a little more value on Moreira. I know Connor at DFI is definitely high on Moreira, and he likes him a lot. So I would say, that's an area you could look at for this fight. Next up, you got Mounir Lazzez versus Warlley Alves. Lazzez minus 230 is starting to get up there where I think it's getting a little too high, but I still think there's a little bit of value. I think some books have them as high as minus 250, but again, it's a little too high. I just don't know if he's going to get a finish. It's definitely possible. Alves is, to me, I think since USADA, he's looked a little, deflated. He has no gas tank. He only lasts for a round, maybe a round and a couple minutes. But as far as a bet on this one, I don't have anything concrete. If anything, I would say maybe minus 160 over a round and a half if your book offers it is not a bad bet because Alves is likely going to win the first round. He wins most of the first rounds he's in. So, if he's going to be that way, might as well take the over because I don't think Lizzie's is going to get a finish within that first 2.5 minutes in the second round. He could, but I think it's not as likely. So I think getting minus 160 is not a bad price. Besides that, I don't really see, you know, Lizzie's could get a finish, but plus 130 is not the best odds. I'd rather get more than that. Fight goes to distance or fight goes to decision, plus 140. I don't know. But again, you don't need to force a bet if you don't feel it. And then you got the main event, Chiesa versus Magny. Another fight. I mean, I favor Magny in this at minus 130. I think this is more of a coin flip fight. So feel like there's just a little bit of value on Chiesa being plus 120, but overall not a ton. Um, I feel like this fight is either Chiesa inside the distance via submission, which is currently sitting at where is he? Chiesa is by decision is plus 320. But if Magny wins, I feel like if Magny wins, it's more than likely going to be by a decision. And where Magny by decision is plus 145. So if you are betting this fight, those would be like the two ways I would go for this. But overall, I'm not betting either of those two fights currently at the moment, unless something dramatic happens by 9 o'clock in the morning when these fights start. If you aren't a subscriber to DFI, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We currently, have a promo code. If you use promo code DaveFriend and you have never subscribed before to Daily Fantasy Insider, you get a free 30-day read-only, and you can pick whatever product you want at Daily Fantasy Insider. It could be either all access, which you get access to all their, daily fantasy sports. You could pick just MMA. You could pick just basketball. You could pick just baseball. NHL, tennis, League of Legends, any of that. We cover every sport, so might as well use this to your advantage. Get a free 30 days. Check out our product. Our MMA product is getting better and better. We brought on two, new writers for us with Connor and Kevin. They've been helping out a ton. Our product's better, so definitely check out the War Room. See what we got going on this late. We break down every fight. Again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think, what you guys want to see going forward. This week has been a crazy week with 3 fights in, 1 week. I'm just trying to get out some content for you. So hopefully you guys enjoy this different from the normal DFS breakdown. If you guys want a DFS breakdown, let me know. I definitely will be doing one on Friday night for the Conor McGregor Poirier card. And we will see you then. Good luck to everybody on your contest this week. And we will see you on Friday night.